Police in Mpumalanga are urging motorists to obey the rules of the road as they head to different areas for New Year celebrations. Law enforcement officers are conducting operations on major routes and ports of entry to ensure that travelers are safe. Newzroom Afrika's Mweli Masilela is following that story and joins us live now from the Lebombo border post to give us an update about the situation. Mweli, one of the things that the authorities will be clamping down on, of course, is, cross-border traveling. What is the situation looking like there?
Yes, Linda, cross-border travel very critical at this stage because there's quite a lot of elements, especially that the Border Management Authority is looking into. You know that here in Mpumalanga on the border between South Africa and Mozambique, there's been quite a lot of confiscation of illegal goods. So they are looking into that, as well as those complaints about the theft, for example, of vehicles that are most of the time stolen in South Africa and then smuggled into Mozambique. But generally also looking into the safety of travelers. That is why on our way here we saw quite a number of roadblocks, about 4 to be exact. So the police working with other law enforcement officers in that regard. But you'll know that even on Christmas Eve as well as on Christmas Day, Linda, the Border Management Authority had to deal with a huge number of travelers that were traveling between South Africa and Mozambique, and most of those were heading to Mozambique. And according to the Border Management Authority, on Christmas Day, Linda, it was more than 18,000 people that were cleared. But just to get a picture of what we can expect today, we've got the commander of this port, that is Mweli Masilela, to give us an update. A very busy situation on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Your expectations today?
No, thank you, Mweli, and greetings to you and the viewers at home. So obviously, perhaps starting with yesterday, the numbers that we saw yesterday, the port processed around 18,500 travelers yesterday. We were more or less expecting the same today. However, as you can see, the port is relatively quiet at the current moment. And what you see happening now is casual crossing of travelers from Mozambique over into South Africa to go and do shopping. And we're expecting the same to happen this afternoon. Same travelers traveling from South Africa back to Mozambique.
Of course, when you are clearing such a huge number of travelers, there will always be challenges. What is it that you have picked up? There's been always that issue of people crossing illegally and some people even trying to move around illicit goods. What have you picked up so far?
Absolutely. You have seen these practices consistently continuing throughout this peak period. We have intercepted in large numbers people, undocumented foreigners, attempting to cross illegally via the borderline into Mozambique. We managed to intercept a large number of these travelers, and they were brought into the port and processed for deportation. And amongst these, unfortunately, it's women and children, that group that is quite vulnerable. Some incidents of criminality also happening within the corridor, people being attacked by some of the criminal elements that take an advantage of the high volumes of traffic during this period to commit these crimes. So that's what we've seen happening. But also the port dealing with a large number of people traveling through, and with that long queues in the main channel here at the border, and with long queues again at the pedestrian crossing. But as you may also realize that we activated Kilometer 7 in order to try and decongest the port of entry, where we also diverted light vehicles for processing.
And then briefly, you always have a challenge with the long queues of trucks. What has been done differently this time around? Because it looks like it's clear today.
No, absolutely. The interventions that were put in place recently assisted to a large degree in terms of facilitation of trucks. So as you may see, we've got about 3 processing channels at the bypass where trucks stops only once. Mozambique is sitting together with South African authorities and processing these trucks. So it's only one stop at the bypass, and the truck moves over to Mozambique. So that really assisted us.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Melinda. Mweli Masoleng speaking on behalf of the Border Management Authority here. He's actually the port manager. We'll give you more updates at a later stage in terms of what is happening here at the port of entry, as well as at some of the major routes here in the Mpumalanga province, Linda.